Welcome to Sports Extravaganza. I'm your co-host, Tony Dean, and I'm here with my man, the coach, Kelvin Lee. How you doing, Coach?
I'm really thankful right now. Very thankful. Again, normally I have a shout out and I'm going to have one. Again, I'm going to have a shout out. I'm going to keep it in family. My son, KJ Lee, I went down and watched him practice last night at Western Illinois, and he's doing really good. And I know Corey would be interested in that because he played for Corey with BBE. So again, shout out to KJ Lee. You keep doing what you're doing. I got a scrimmage this morning. I wished him luck. Went out to dinner with him, and there you go. But let's get back to Batman here. Let's get back to the show.
Oh, here we go.
Again, you're Batman. I'm Robin.
Yeah.
And again, let's get this show. And it's Corey. You know me. I like to get this thing with a little song. You know, I think about a song, especially with Corey. You know, it's all the way live. It's all the way live with Corey Frazier. Let's go.
Yes, all the way live with Corey Frazier. I like that. That's kind of good there. But today we are talking with the aforementioned Corey Frazier, my man from Charleston, Missouri. Great ball player there. Went from there to St. Louis University. Fine player there. And then even more surprising, a great head coach. A great head coach. Maplewood, a couple of state championships, 2008, 2009. Great guy in the community, and now he's moved on to overtime elite.
Don't forget about John Burroughs.
John Burroughs too. Let's stop at John Burroughs. Yeah. He's had some stops along the way, but
them rich boys over there with John Burroughs.
We're gonna see what he has to say about that. But overtime elite right now, working under another great coach, a national championship coach in Kevin Ollie. Yeah. So we want to hear everything that's going on with Corey Frazier from the beginning all the way up till now. So here's my man, Corey Frazier. How you doing today, Coach?
And I'm good, brothers. I really appreciate you guys having me on, man. I know we've been trying to get on for a minute, but got to make time with what we got to make time with. But I'm blessed to be here to have this conversation with two great people. Tony, we go way back.
Yes.
Coach Lee, we go way back.
Way back, so, brother.
It's crazy how this whole thing circles back to I never even thought about being a coach when I left Charleston. This man tricked me into coming to St. Louis. Yeah, I'll tell that story in a minute. And to still be good friends and great mentor, man. So I appreciate both you brothers for having me on today, and I'm excited.
Well, Corey, it's all about relationships, man. You know what I mean? Again, if you could keep a relationship through life, you know, we've had our moment. We compete. We go at each other real hard. You remember the Shop and I game at our place when you thought you were going to walk in our building and come in there and say a couple of words to me. I said, you done lost your mind.
And then you told the referee to kick me out the game.
Yeah, I told him, get him out of here, man. He can't do that. But it's all good, though, man. It's all about competing. And you didn't leave the building. You're hard-headed, man. You went up upstairs to the concession stand. Wouldn't even leave the building.
You wouldn't leave the building?
No, wouldn't even leave. That's how hard-headed he is.
All they said, Tony, is I had to get out the gym. They didn't say I had to leave the building. So I got out the gym.
There you go.
But again, Corey, you're the type of player, again, I just had to have you. When I was assistant coach at St. Louis, you with Charlie Spoonhour, of course. That's when I began. That's when our relationship started. I started recruiting Corey at Charleston High School, playing for the great Leonard McFerrin. And again, I just got that relationship with him, he and his family. And again, I had to have, because he competed. I think I told you the story again. I went down and watched him play. They played with Sean at Charleston, and I'm sitting up there. I've never seen. I called Coach Spooner at halftime. I said, Spoon, you won't believe what I just saw. He said, what's going on, Kate? He said, man, Deshaun only got 4 points at halftime. Boy, they locked him up. I was like, Deshaun had a great team, and then Corey done put some defense on them. I said, I got to have this guy, man. It wasn't so much for his jump shot, though. We'll talk about that later. But his defense was off the chain, man. But again, there you go. I had to throw that one in there, Corey. But again, I did trick him to coming, though. But we had to have Miss Slew, and he had a great career there. But again, I left after about a week or so after we signed him. But I had, again, Corey, you know, business, you know, I had to go get that money.
Absolutely.
You know, Texas A&M. But again, I'm glad you agreed to come on. I'm interested in hearing your story. Talk to us a little bit about your days at Charleston playing for Leonard McFerrin.
Yeah, and that great basketball.
Coach Mack, man, I appreciate him more now than ever, just because of the fundamentals of life that he instilled in us. And it was at the point we thought it was just about basketball, man, but it was about, you know, raising young men to be men, in the future, man. But it was tough. You had to be disciplined. You had to have some tough skin in order to play, for Charleston. Tradition was rich. It was about winning state championships. It was about the culture of how you carried yourself and walk around. He was a no-nonsense coach. Being on time, being accountable, holding each other accountable. You learn about brotherhood. You learn about friendships that you value for the rest of your life. But it also makes you appreciate life a little better when you're going through a war or battle with somebody. Every day we didn't like each other. If we fought on the court, it stayed on the court and never left the locker room because we knew it was we knew it was bigger than basketball. So, and I think that man, consistently, I still have a great relationship with him. I call him about a little bit of everything. Recruited some of his players for Brad Beal Elite. So, only learn from the great right there sitting next to you from Coach Lee how to do it. When you get tired of something, then say, man, I'm out of here.
Oh man,
great time.
Tell us about growing up in a basketball family. I mean, Lamont Frazier, Ricky Frazier.
Yeah, that was rough because there was really no days off. Like every day you woke up, you're competing. You walk down the street, you're gonna hear about, man, Ricky did this or Lamont did that, or it didn't matter. So you had to really be bought into it, and we didn't have a choice. So I ain't gonna even say I had a choice to do basketball or football. We knew it was gonna be basketball when I came out the womb. So it was tough. Ricky, my favorite player of all time, instilled in us everything that he wanted us to be in basketball. He challenged us on a regular basis, shooting your left hand, just dribbling and handling the basketball, understanding, how to play. Even when he made us come out and play with the older guys, man, it was, all right, you out here, you pass up a shot, you might not get it back for the rest of the day. You lose a game, you're done for the rest of the day. So he really instilled on competing. And not only did we do it in Charleston, but he took us to a couple other little small towns to play just so you can get a feel for what's out here. So when I got a chance to go play elsewhere, I was ready for it. It didn't matter who I played against. I knew I was going to compete at a high level and make sure when I left the gym or left that court, they knew who I was. And that's what he instilled in us.
That competitive level.
Yeah, competitive. Go ahead, Corey. Good deal, man. Again, let's talk about your mom a little bit. I know because, again, that's where it all starts, show you, your family, your dad, your mom, and everybody. But your mom was always there for you. Talk to us a little bit about that, buddy.
Oh, man. Come from a single-parent home, man. And my mother worked, tirelessly, several different jobs to make sure that I was given an opportunity. I still remember when Coach Lee came down to my house, and I was at some point, I was like, I don't want to go to this man. At my house, I get out of school, Coach Lee is there. Coach Lee came down to see you, and I'm like, what are you here for? Like, I don't want to go to St. Louis U. And he had the conversation with her, about trust and about, this is my only son. I'm the only child. So, giving him that confidence. I mean, giving him that, like, yeah, this is where he needs to be. Father figure, great man. This is where you're gonna go. So she trusted Coach Lee with taking care of me and everything he did. All jokes aside, I don't care what nobody say, man. That's a great man sitting next to you. But my mom, she was my everything. She still is my everything, man. So I as a young man, a small to go to a city blindly. Most parents wouldn't do that. So she put me on the bus to go to St. Louis U to play with the St. Louis Eagles, and the rest is history, man. So I never looked back. I almost didn't take that bus ride, but my Uncle Ricky drove me to make sure I got on that bus.
I like that. You made sure you made it. I like that. I like that a lot. Now,
made sure I got on that bus because I didn't want to fly none of it. I was like, man, I'm not going. I don't want to fly. I'm going.
Now, that strong competitive drive that you had, not just at St. Louis University, that took you into coaching. But the thing is, you never thought you would coach. Tell us about that. How did you get into coaching the little youth basketball team? The little church is where you started out.
I got tricked again. So here's what happened. I gotten back a little basketball from overseas, and I'll go back to St. Louis University. I was like, all right, I'm gonna finish up my degree or whatever. And they had a a program that was set for, athletes returning. They want to do more of the give back to the community. So I first started off with the little boys and girls club. Big brothers and big sisters program. That wasn't working out too much. Some of the environments I had to go in, I wasn't prepared for that. So my barber, Mike Gibson, sitting there talking to him. He's like, man, you ever coach a team? And I think it was Gary Ely, who, he knew. So they ended up taking me over to the little church over in Baden, Our Lady of the Holy Cross. So, I get over there and I'm like, I don't know nothing about coaching. All I knew was as a player what I was taught. And I fell in love with the game, coaching the game at that point. And I just saw the little things that I had, that was instilled in me. I started giving those little, pieces in practice, whatever. And I'm seeing it like, wow, this thing actually works. And that's when I just started getting into coaching. And I remember going over to work some of Coach Lee camps. I'm in his office while everybody else out in the gym. I'm watching film of Gene Iba, and it was. I think I stole a whole bunch of videos. He don't know it yet, but I was just in there watching, coaching drills, whatever. I ran this camp for a couple of years, whatever the case. But that's where it kind of that motor and that fire started. I brought all my little kids from Our Lady of Holy Cross, came over to Chaminade camps, and they got into camps a little bit. So that's how it all materialized for me, man. That's how I got into it.
Well, Corey, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my camps. I never forget you coming in. I put you in charge of the NBA division, and you were just so hard on those guys. I said, Corey, you don't run them off, man. I need to get these kids back next year. They're repeat business, Right. But again, Corey, you were hard to discipline. I loved the way you ran camp. And but I don't know if you remember, I approached you one day, and I said, Corey, you'd be crazy not to start training. You need to start training some kids, man. You got the name, you're going to play the St. Louis U, and then you got into it. You got into training, and again, that you started evolving. I watched you, and you started the WITS program. You know what I mean? And let's talk to us about that a little bit. How that evolved, how it all evolved.
Yeah. Well, at first, you're right. I just like working with kids, and that for me, I didn't have it financially to give back. So I felt like if I could give back in the game, there'll be enough. And I went to a couple of tournaments, and I remember coming back, working Coach Lee camp, and I think you were working with Kenny. You was working with Kenny at the time. Yeah. And after the fact, I'm looking at little things that, Kenny does, that's Coach Lee's nephew, my little brother. But watching you do that, and then I kind of just started dabbing in, and I was working with a bunch of kids, locally. I was working some of my athletes at Maplewood, but I never really did it to make money. I was just doing it to, help kids develop as players. So after that conversation, that kind of, hit for me, working with Drew Hanlon, and then RJ.
Yeah.
Had already WITS. And so when he came back from working with Larry Hughes, I got with him. We started, doing stuff with WITS Training Academy, and that thing just kind of blew up. And I had no idea that we were going to affect that many people doing it. He's still running WITS to this day, and I'm still training today. So working with him, he kind of showed me a little more of the business side of how it should, operate and how it should go that way. But that's kind of how my training thing started, man. And the rest, as you say, is history.
It is history. You've done a great job with that, Corey.
Great job.
And I've watched you over the years, and again, I just watching. I love the way you work with the youth, the kids, and again, and then you got into some college players and then NBA players as well. And then talk to us a little bit about working with those guys.
Man, it's a different experience because you have to change your mindset because you cannot train everybody. See, I think when I first started training, I was just training in general. And then, when I got to working with college, we had Jason Tatum and all those kids coming up, but they were missing a certain essence of being one-on-one and individual, like tailoring their game to somebody. So I didn't know that at the time, but started working with college kids. I had the elite high school kids with St. Louis Eagles, Brad Beal Elite. But then when I started working with college kids, it dawned on me to start asking college coaches questions about what do you want him to improve on? That way I can help him with that. But not only that, let me see, the playbook or whatever plays you guys are running so I can get him ready to be better for you in your system. And that's how it all evolved, where it kind of separated me with some of the other guys in training because I focused on you need to be ready for your coach when you get back. I don't want to show you things that you're not going to use, and I can help you improve. And if I can increase your numbers just a little bit, then that's a win. So we're from college, and then I got into doing pro. And the reason I got into doing pro, had a bunch of guys who I knew that we're in an industry, a couple of agents who had a couple of kids at different colleges and universities. My first real guy that I had was Winnie Gabriel from Kentucky. He had just hit 6 or 7 threes down in St. Louis at the tournament. Guy hits me up and was like, hey, can you work him out for me? I think Drew told him, like, call Corey Frazier. And that's how I got into, training NBA players.
Yeah.
Training NBA players is a lot different from training college kids because now it's not systematic. It is, he has to be great and do something specific versus a bunch of everything. So now it's tailored to, that piece of, if it's shooting, then he needs to focus on strictly shooting, footwork, release, whatever it may be, and then just how you're going to do things within that system where you're going to play.
I like that. That really sounds great. I mean, to have a situation where you go from generally training kids and training youth to now going to a situation where you tailor the training toward the individual and the team, and then you take it to yet another level where you're tailoring it toward just the individual. That's fantastic. That's
Absolutely.
At all levels. That's fantastic. Which I'm gonna go back for a second though.
Go back. Let's go back.
I'm gonna go back to high school because I want to know what inside of you told you that you were gonna go to Maplewood and take a program that was, basically dead in the water. Nothing, and pull it up into something and 2 state championships. What led you to Maplewood in doing that?
It was opportunity, and I wasn't afraid. For me, coming from Charleston, man, even though we had the rich tradition of basketball, but if you look at Coach Lee and get the Charleston teams, we wasn't big. We wasn't big at all. We didn't have size. We just had a bunch of guys that wanted to play and play hard for their coach and for their community. For me, it was the opportunity to just take whatever I got. I don't need much, but if I can get them to buy in to playing defense, working hard as they can, running through that brick wall for each other and trusting what I'm saying, then I can get anybody to do anything. And for me, the improvement is not only that piece, but will my kids develop over time? I don't want you to be the same exact player the first year to the 4th year. So I took the same approach that I had. I wanted to improve on certain aspects of my game to be that. So when it came, the Maplewood situation came about, I was at Clayton High School. I was the freshman coach over there. I saw, the winnings from, coaching Little League basketball. That carried over. Now I'm like, okay, I got older guys who may want to listen a little bit. So I started pouring into them. Every day they never done summer camps. They had done anything, no leagues or none of that. And so that's kind of, it just kept going. So I went and got my best friend, John Redden, who was a defensive coach. So I knew it in my absence. If I wasn't at practice, I knew somebody was going to carry it on. And
there you go.
Man, we put together something special with that program because didn't nobody want to play us. I don't care how bad we may look offensively. We might have the ugliest uniforms, but when you play Maplewood, you was going to be in a dogfight. Now, y'all might beat us by 20 in the 4th quarter, but that first 3 quarters, y'all
Corey, you know what? You did have the players, though. Brian Allen, he was a hell of a player, man. That was the backbone of one of your teams at Maplewood. Yeah. And I'd never forget playing you down in Southeast Missouri, playing that shootout down there.
I want that game back, man.
No, you're not getting it back. You're not getting it back. I tried to warn you right before the game. We always talk at the half court before the game. I said, be careful now. He said, yeah, be careful what you wish for. We end up beating you by 1.
You got me by. Listen, my kids, this is my excuse and I'm sticking to it. My kids had just finished making a deep run in the playoffs. So Coach Lee and them have been practicing for a whole month. So we only on 3 or 4 days of practice and they got us. But it was a good game. Sorry, it was a good game for all the right reasons because we knew we had a special group, had an opportunity to make another state run. So to play the best team in 5A, versus us, it was good for us. It was good for us.
Yeah, it's all about preparation.
Got us locked in sooner than later.
Yeah, it's all about preparation, man, and competing. Yeah, man. But again, Corey, I'm gonna go back a little bit if you don't mind. We played for some great coaches, Leonard McFerrin, your high school coach. But talk to us about the late great Charlie Spoonhour. What was it like playing for Spoon?
It was hard as hell, but it was fun because no matter what we did, you knew it was going to be a joke in practice about something. So it could have been, he'd been mad for the last 30 minutes. Here come that joke. I remember, I ain't gonna say no names of the coach, but my funniest story was one of my teammates, one of my good friends to this day, could not rotate defensively. He wouldn't guard nobody, whatever. And Coach Spoon just turns around to the staff and says, "Hey, if any of y'all recruit another kid from this certain state, I'm firing all y'all."
No,
I've heard that line.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm like, wow. Yeah,
that's funny.
I mean, and even before he passed, it was good for me. When I got into coaching, and the first thing he told me, he's like, "Now, don't go in there complaining or none of that, because remember, you was hard headed as a player too, so you got to expect that with territory." But then he was like, "Don't complain about it because you want to decide to get into coaching, so you either gonna do it or you ain't gonna do it." So when I knew then I had to get the blessings from him and Lennox McFerrin before I really got into coaching. So both of those guys are a reason why I got into what I call organized chaos basketball. So,
yeah.
Organized chaos. Yeah. I like that. Organized chaos.
Well, Corey, you played for the St. Louis Eagles, and they evolved into Brad Bill Elite. I talked to you a little bit about, Rich Gray and Ron Golden, Roy Pierce. Those guys are very instrumental in your life as well with the Eagles. So talk to us a little about the Eagles and then involving in the Brad Bill Elite, becoming the coach of Brad Bill Elite and everything.
Right. It was a great experience because they helped me grow as a coach. They were my toughest critics as a coach, I should say. And I think it helped me to become a better coach. I know it helped me become a better coach. Rich Gray, God rest his soul. If it wasn't for him, I probably would have never done or had an opportunity to do USA basketball. I probably would have never been in the Final Four of Peace Jam or a championship because he told me when I first got on the AAU scene, like, your style of coaching, you can't continue to do that. As Coach Lee said, and Kemp, I was tough. I was tough on the kids, whatever, because that's all I do. But they fired me. They fired me from coaching. One summer, it was like, nope, you can't do it. And I had to humble myself and come back to him like, okay, what do I need to do? Well, Nike doesn't want to see this. And so I had to regroup, listen, take instruction, and then apply to what he wanted me to do.
Yeah.
From that point on, that's when I started to evolve as a coach because I changed my style of coaching. You can't coach everybody the same. And I started to build a better rapport with my players. I need to know why this kid comes in and he's struggling for that day. So you kind of become a counselor / father, big brother, whatever is needed at that moment. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Even Roy, I remember Roy Pierce asking me, is being a head coach a job or a title? I'm like, it's a job. Like, it can't just be a title, because if it's just a title for me, then, that's what a lot of people, I just want to be the head coach. It is a huge responsibility to be a head coach because I take it home with me. I don't care who I'm coaching or what I'm, even being here at OT, I take it home with me because I want kids to have a great experience and I want them to walk away saying, I learned something. And if they don't walk away doing that, then I fail as a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. You learn to recalibrate.
Yeah. You said,
and not just as a basketball coach, but in life, because it becomes your life doing what you're doing. I love that story, Corey. That's fantastic, because a lot of people are too stubborn to recalibrate themselves and and do something different. So that's fantastic. That's growth in you as a man as well by doing stuff like that. That's fantastic.
Well, Corey, I used to always tell your butt, I just say, man, you need to calm it down, man. Calm down just a little bit, man. You're too damn hard, But again, that's who you are. In coaching, sometimes you got to know who you are. And as long as you can go to bed at night, sleep well at night, you're doing something great, you're doing something good.
Right.
That's good stuff, Corey.
Now, speaking of going to bed and sleeping well at night, you're staying busy, super busy with Overtime Elite.
Yeah.
Tell us about the guy you're working for, Kevin Ollie. How's that going with Overtime Elite?
One of the greatest spirits of a man that I've ever been around. I mean, you talking about energy every single day. I wake up looking forward to getting here working with this man. It is I can't even explain it, so I get chills talking about it because he exudes so much energy. He pours into these kids. He's sweating. level 5, whatever it is that it takes, man. This is a great dude, man. And he's humble as all get out. He allows us to be us, but also he pushes us to be better as coaches, as mentors, as fathers, whatever it may be, that our sole responsibility is to help these young men reach their goals and reach their potential. And so that's what it's about for me. And I look at, how he moves around the room, how people respect him. He walks in the room and lights up.
All right.
Because everybody respects what he do. And it's not, an ego thing. It's just that, man, he's a humble dude, man. Great dude, man. So I love working for him. I really do.
Well, Corey, tell us a little bit about your day-to-day operation. What are you doing with the organization? Because I remember talking to you over the phone. At that time, you were traveling, meeting with players, maybe a high school player, the top high school player in the country, and trying to get them to come to Overtime Elite. But again, now that you guys I think you guys have formed your team, because you say you want to get like 23 players. That was your goal. But again, now you guys talk to us about your day-to-day operation. What you guys are doing?
It's basically, helping these young men develop into reaching their pro potential. I work with the skill development department area where our focus is tailoring the game, that individual's game, to what we want to do. Not so much a system, but so that when they're showcasing, they actually are playing, and NBA scouts watch them, they see them in the element of, okay, I see where his game translates to the NBA. So that's the sole preparation for it. But we have to do it where it's not just, wild and all that. We have to make sure these young men are available, as Coach said, in the moment of truth. When it's time for them to show up, that they are doing exactly what they've been rehearsing and what they've been practicing for. So it's like an extended, what we call training camp or extended pre-draft. So, but we got more than 10 weeks. We got months to get them ready for that, for when draft day comes. So we have some that'll be here for a couple years and some not. So I can't give too much information yet, but I can say this, that, we run a everyday practice like normal practices. Probably a little bit more exceeding normal. There's a lot of skill development going on, a lot of defense intention. Coach, I know you'll love that part. There's a lot of details for defense, and we have a great staff here in terms of developing these guys and the right offense to fit their style of play and showcasing their talent. So that's primary. But OTE, man, is it's not what people think it is. It is a well-oiled machine, and I couldn't be any more excited to be anywhere. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, except for home with my wife and my kids.
Good job. There you go. Well, Corey,
he's always busy. That's what we say. He's always busy.
Hey, Corey, we always talk about the mindset. Your mindset sometimes. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We always talk about the mindset sometimes. What were you thinking when you accepted the job? I remember relate to you a little bit. I went back when I was in Chaminade. I coached the the Jordan Brand Classic. You know what I mean? I had Brad Bill, Anthony Davis, all those great players. You know what I mean? And I was wondering, what was I getting into? Because the egos come into play sometimes. You're dealing with some of the top players in the country. Do those guys, they want to be coached, or their egos, they're coachable? Talk to us a little bit.
They drop their ego at the door. They're ready to go as soon as we come in the door. So there's no egos. We talk about that before we even get in here. So all the egos are checked right away. They check the egos at the door, and the kids have to check themselves too, because you gotta give yourself to OTE. You gotta give yourself to the program in order to be better. So that's how I'm going, man. Gentlemen, I'm getting called.
You gotta go. You gotta wrap it up.
This is Zoom Live, folks. This is Zoom Live. So we're wrapping it up here with Corey Frazier. Hey, thanks for being with us here on the Sports Extravaganza, Corey. Good luck to you, Coach.
Man, appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all. Hope to see y'all when I get to St.
My man, Corey. Appreciate you, brother.
Much love to you. Take care of yourself, Corey.
I will, man. Y'all be good.
Love y'all. Be in touch, Corey. Soon. Love you, man.
All right. Like I say, this is Zoom Live, baby. Sports Extravaganza. Yes, sir.